What is going on, guys? So many things have happened since I closed out yesterday's video with the Airbnb situation. By the way, it's not my situation, it's our situation, Stephanie included. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a link in the top of the description to the video from yesterday that you go and click and check out about the story behind this house that we rent on Airbnb and the neighbor across the street who's giving us trouble for no reason because the whole thing is legal. Yesterday's video left off with a phone call that I had made to the main office where the lady who answers the phone, the operator, the secretary, said that it was possible that we might need a permit in order to rent on Airbnb this house right here. Well, guess what? No permit is needed at all. That phone call took place roughly 3 p.m. yesterday, and I got an email about 4:30 from the director of the entire department at the city taking care of our case, stating a whole bunch of things that he thought were going on in this house that aren't actually happening, like the way that we're renting. I actually want to pull up the email that he sent me and just give you a little glimpse into the wording, because it's really strange and very unexpected. This guy wrote 4 long paragraphs in an email to me. The first 2 sentences: the subject property is legal to be used as a single family dwelling. This means it should be occupied by a family and not to separate and transient boarders. That would be an entirely different use that would have to be approved by zoning. Essentially what that means is we can rent this place for any length of time, for 1 year or 1 month or 1 day, the entire house, to a family or to a group of people, whoever we want, and they get to have the entire house. That is legal. What we are not able to do is rent one of the bedrooms to one party and on the same night rent another bedroom to another party. That is not in compliance with the zoning for this house. Essentially what that means, guys, is that we can rent this house on Airbnb as much as we want, just like we have already been doing, and we can rent it for under 30 days if we wish, as short as 1 night if we so choose, as long as it's contracted with the people that are renting and us. But there is no term limit on the amount of days that we're allowed to rent, so long as we're renting the entire house at one time. I actually think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to Airbnb, and I was reading some of your comments and some of you seem convinced that if you're renting for under 30 days, it's illegal in this city or that city. But that's not actually the case. Airbnb is legal throughout the entire United States, including in New York City, as far as I know. There was a bill that was proposed to ban Airbnb in New York City. Some people thought it was for the entire state of New York, but it wasn't, because I read the bill, because I subscribed to Airbnb newsletters and they sent it to us, and I read through the law proposal. That law did not pass, but the proposal was literally for New York City only. So there is no illegality when it comes to Airbnb and renting out houses that are zoned as single family dwellings. When you really think about it, it is crazy how much the internet has shaken up our lives so much that we have all this misinformation from new websites that end up becoming wildly popular because it's a service that people actually want. Like going on and renting a house versus everyone has to stay in a hotel when they travel. We've had people stay here that so prefer to stay here when they're on vacation versus a hotel. The last people that were here, and you can see a little bit of what they left in yesterday's video, because it was yesterday. They kept the house completely clean. One of the days sat the entire time, or most of the day, on the porch. The lady was an older woman doing her crossword puzzle and just relaxing. I saw the guy was having a beer at one point. They were just moved in for a short amount of time, and it was more comfortable for them, or I'm assuming it was more comfortable for them, than being in a hotel room where you don't have a balcony and you don't have space to do your own cooking and sit out on a porch and possibly barbecue, because we have that back there too, and fire pit and yard and all sorts of things that you like, and the convenience of having a home, but not at your own home. It's great that we have this Airbnb option as an alternative to staying in a hotel when we travel. And I don't just mean that from a host's perspective. I use Airbnb when I travel too. And I love it. And that is not to say that we use Airbnb every time we travel. I like having the option, and I also like having the option of staying in a hotel if I want to. I like having both options. So anyway, when I read the gentleman's email saying about transient boarders and different people renting different rooms, I immediately got restless, called Steph in because she was in the garden working, and had her read the email too to make sure I wasn't missing anything. And then within about 15 minutes, I composed a response saying I would never do that, and all we're doing is renting to single families that rent the entire place, one group at a time, and I would never do the separate bedrooms thing with separate parties that didn't know each other in the same house, because that's dangerous to me. I'm not over here cooking breakfast for them, and we're not living in this house. And I was also a little bit upset that nobody bothered to ask what we were doing. Like, how did they all assume, the gentleman who came over here and then his boss, the director who ended up emailing that is what we were doing, when in fact, we weren't doing that at all. So I fired that email off, and within another 15 minutes, he responded to me, which was amazing. I was not expecting a response that quickly from a gentleman working for the city. And he wrote, "Oh, well, if that is the way that you're renting, then there's no issue at all." He told me he'd get back to me today. I received an email about 9:30 this morning. He said he's closing the complaint case, and that's it. We can rent the way we've been renting, with absolutely no problem from the city and without a permit, because I don't even think there is a permit for this. I want to respond to some of your comments from yesterday's video, so let's do that. I would file harassment charges on her. If she does it again, file again. Do that until you can file for a restraining order that makes her stay away from you, your guests, and any property that you own. If she breaks that, she can go to jail. At least that's how it works here in Texas. My mom had neighbors like yours. As soon as we called the police on them, they moved. God, I would love that, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Even if she had a legitimate problem, that's no reason to behave like that. Some people view anger as a sport. It makes them feel alive. When they tear into someone, they have issues. Anger is a tricky one, because we can lash out at other humans, because all humans are energy sources, and you get a little bump from being really negative to somebody, but in the long term, it eats away at your soul and it doesn't have good karma. It's something that I've been working on, because I think I grew up in a household that had some anger issues, and Stephanie really didn't. And so it's been my issue to deal with my anger, and I've been trying not to ever do that. And now I see it all over society when I go out, where people just nitpick at each other to get a tiny little bump in energy. And I hate when that happens. It happens too much. But this is way worse than that. If she curses and screams, you have the right to call the police, get a report, and you can even get a stay order. She will not be allowed to harass you or your guests again. You guys seem really nice, and I wouldn't want to go through all that, but that is an option. Right, I was actually speaking to one of my buddies the other day about her and what I can do and what he would do. And he was saying that I shouldn't call the police. And I have thought about this, obviously, how to take action. I mean, the day that she yelled at our house was the same day that I went over and spoke to her. And that obviously didn't do anything, because here we are in this situation. So we'll see where this goes down the road. I think if she ever yelled at our house again, I would want to get that on video. And if I had video evidence of her harassing me directly, I would call the police, and then I would have something to show the police. I think that would be the best route, instead of just calling the police and saying, she said this, but I don't have any proof of it. I just read an article from 2011 saying that it is illegal to rent a house for less than 30 consecutive days. You can be fined between $1,000 and $5,000. It named specifically Airbnb. There was a response to this. Kelly is correct. Richard and Steph, you need to figure out a plan B of renting out the house longer term to comply with the law. There is no permit to get, which is correct. The person you spoke to is not informed. You cannot rent out living space for less than 30 days. So we did find out that that is in fact incorrect, and you can rent out for less than 30 days. And I've been doing it since we bought the house, and now the guy said today that it's completely legal to continue to do it that way. So we are going to continue to do it that way. It is illegal to rent on Airbnb. It's legal. I know I'm gonna continue to do it. Don't be a little pussy ass bitch and move just because the dumb heifer is making it hard on you. I will lose all respect for you should you decide to move and let that bitch win. Who said anything about moving? I tell the lady respectfully that you are all adults and that you and Steph are fully capable of explaining the parking errors of your guests. I would also have her know that what she is doing is considered harassment of you guys and your guests, and if she continues, legal action would have to be taken. Otherwise, love you guys, keep doing great. Haters gone be haters. A hater gone hate. Yeah, I was super nice to her when I spoke to her. I wish I had recorded that conversation. It obviously didn't do anything. I don't want to engage her again. In most cities, it is illegal to rent out your place for less than 30 days. Therefore, why Airbnb has had so many troubles with the law lately. Hopefully, you don't have that requirement, but I know New York City does, and that's in your state. That law did not pass in New York, as I said. And it is legal to rent on Airbnb in New York for less than 30 days, and it is legal throughout the US to rent on Airbnb for less than 30 days. Don't you let that bitch win. You take that test, you apply for the permit or license, and you effing win. You hear me? You win. And you roll up next to her house and you give her the finger. You best win. Well, I ain't gonna flick her off, but yeah, we gonna win this. Actually, I think we already won. There's been a crap ton of confusion around all of this, and I hope I was able to clear some of it up. Comments, you guys, what do you think about this situation? What do you think about now knowing that it is in fact okay to rent less than 30 days on Airbnb legally? And also, if you had the means, would you ever consider using the service, whether to use it and travel or to host and make some extra cash? Comments. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you so much for supporting Steph and I on our Korean entertainment endeavors, and now with our Airbnb endeavors. That's it. I'm out of here. Hasta luego.